This is the Oddball Show, a podcasting collaboration from Creepy Life Productions and Oddball Magazine.
Greetings, all you Valkyries and venomous villains. This is indeed the Oddball Show, broadcasting live from an undisclosed location beneath the Blue Hills. My name is Prof. I represent the multimedia Goliath known as JP9 Productions, and I'll be playing the helmsman on this fantastic voyage. Before we get to our illustrious guest this morning, let's re-meet our rack of oddballs. Recently returned from a transatlantic romp, he's the founder and editor-in-chief that puts the DBA in Oddball Magazine. A poet from another planet, please welcome Mr. Jason Wright.
DBA.
That good? That's pretty good.
Yeah. No, what is that?
Doing business as. Like that's, you're a business.
Doing business as. I was like, douchebag.
So as
it's like, what's he calling me here?
As founder and editor-in-chief.
You know? Oh, yeah, I am doing business as Oddball Magazine.
Well, welcome, buddy.
I just got back from Paris.
Yes. And boy, my arm's tired.
I had a great time.
It doesn't make sense.
Thanks for asking. No, I mean, I did. I had a great time.
Well, actually, you should talk about that a little bit, especially in our second half of the show, your trip to Paris.
I wrote a lot of poetry. I went and hung out with Hemingway.
Awesome. But it was quite inspiring for the artistic mind.
Dude, it was great. We'll talk about it, but yeah, it was a great time.
I saw the pictures. Good stuff.
Oh, you saw the pictures. The wonders of Facebook. Oh, my God. It's incredible.
We'll intro our guest that you just heard in just a moment, but let's do a quick shout out to our oddballs in absentia. The man who keeps Boston's poetic lifeblood pumping with a cast iron hand crank, the mass poetry rep and associate editor of Oddball Magazine. Let's give our We Miss You shout out to Chad Parento.
We miss you, Chad.
You don't sound very enthusiastic. That's okay.
I miss Chad. I
miss him too.
I forget what he sounds like.
It's hard to miss him when he just doesn't show up, man.
He doesn't show up.
Bro, Chad, bro, we miss you.
Chad, bro, throw us a bone, bro.
And my partner in line, the MC behind the rap flashback, available exclusively at jp9productions.com. He bleeds green, and he is there to give you what you need. Please say hello, and we miss you to Mr. Ivan de Jesus, a.k.a. the One Scholar.
We miss you, Scholar.
So we may hear from them again on an upcoming Oddball show, but our shout-outs to them, and they're a big part of what we do both at Oddball Magazine and JP9.
Oh, yeah, they're huge. They're huge.
They are our partners in this podcasting enterprise. But our guest tonight is a prolific author from Dedham, Mass, who dropped his second novel, Grand Slams, a coming-of-age story, last year under Big Table Publishing. He's the fiction editor of the Wilderness House Literary Review from the collective known as the Bagel Bards, and the host of the Dire Literary Series on the last Friday of every month at a location we are big supporters here at the podcast, the Out of the Blue Art Gallery 2 in Cambridge. He's an 11-time Pushcart Prize nominee, but a first-time oddball, so please give a warm interwebs welcome to Mr. Timothy Gager.
Hey, thanks for having me on. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Welcome, man.
I think so.
The crowd goes wild.
The people love you. And so does the gongist.
The gongist is very excited here.
The gongist.
So is the trumpet player.
I don't know about all that. I don't know.
No. He's excited too, but he's not as excited.
I don't know where all these sound effects come from.
It's a full studio here at the Oddball Show. We exist only on the internet, but it's a full studio.
All right, I'm done. Let's get into the conversation.
It's like a whole Foley studio in here. Like we're making our own sound effects.
Are you playing Yahtzee? Are you blending something?
No, I'm shaking my vitamin B12 container.
Let's get pumped.
It's very important to get your vitamins. But Tim, thanks very much for being here, man. We really appreciate it.
Let's not get deficient on this podcast.
Before I talk about the book, I do many impressions, like the keyboard duster. You ready?
Okay.
What was it? I missed it.
Never mind.
You just did the keyboard duster.
I've never heard so much silence from three people.
Yeah.
It takes a concerted effort.
If
It
Chad
takes
was
as
here,
much effort to make that much silence as it
he
does
can
to
do
make
that
that much.
cricket sound. That's pretty good. But I can this.
Yeah, that one. There you go.
Yeah, not bad. That's the sound of people stopping listening to this and like, what a bunch of assholes. Let's go watch something else. Let's go listen to Sports Hub for 4 hours and listen to Adam Scott. But
Well, welcome to the Oddball Show.
Sorry.
Welcome to the Oddball Show, Tim, and thank you very much for being here.
You know, if it's either this or my Tuesday night poker game, and I'm pretty excited to be here.
Yeah.
We have
I
a lot
won't
to
lose
talk
money
about.
here.
We have a lot to talk about. We definitely want to talk about Grand Slams. We were talking about that a little bit in the pre-show, and some of the personal nature of that, and working in restaurants. A lot of fun stuff to talk about there. And then in the second half of the show, we might get into some Celtics talk. They're on a pretty good run towards the playoffs, and there was a lot of talk about them in the trade deadline, but nothing really happened. So I want to talk about all of that. But let's just jump right into the book. This is your second novel, and for those who don't know, let's talk details first. Those who don't know, where can we find you and get your material?
You can find Grand Slams at many a fine bookstore. It's not in your specific store. You can special order it by name, and it will be sent to you as long as it's delivered to the bookstore. Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com. It's wherever you find books.
Wherever fine books are
find
sold.
Grand Slams.
We will be putting all those links right up in our pertinent link section on the website. So definitely check that out. We'll make sure they get you in touch with some stuff from Tim. Jason.
Yeah.
What do you want to start with on Grand Slams? I know you had a couple questions.
I think that well, first I like to compliment the book before I critique it. I'm not gonna critique it. First of all, I think the writing is great. I being an editor of Oddball Magazine, I read some short stories every once in a while, and I'm like, but these short stories are well put together. It's actually a whole long book that is, first of all, as a poet and having very little attention span, I actually tried to write the other day something. I was reading Catch-22. And which is a great book.
My all-time favorite book.
Is it?
Yeah. Catch-22 is my all-time favorite book.
I was reading Catch-22 and I'm like, I can do this, which is impossible because I can't. Anyway, I sat down and I just tried to write something that wasn't poetry, and I couldn't do it. I wrote something that sounded the equivalent of a kindergartner writing a story about their first day at school. It was really bad, and I kept on going. I'm like, I'm gonna get through this. I'm gonna make some kind of process happen. I can't be considered a serious writer if I can only write poetry. That's how I think, anyway. I give respect to a lot of novelists and stuff. So I guess I'm gonna start with this. There's an art to writing fiction and short stories. First of all, short stories is an art because you have to keep everything concise sometimes. Not all the stuff I read, but when you write something like Grand Slams, which has a cast of characters and has a plot and has a purpose, where does this come from? And tell people who don't know how to write, i.e. poets like me, I guess, because I can only write poetry, although I can sometimes write fiction like poetry. But where does this fuel to sit down and be like, I'm going to write a complete 300-page novel? Where does this come from?
Well, let me address a couple of these points. First of all, I think the hardest form to write is poetry because you have to be so concise, and it's almost like a perfection.
Not
a really good poem. So I think it's the hardest thing to do is to write a good poem. With a novel, you can kind of get through the first draft and slide around in it, and there's so much revision work that various stages of revision that cleans it up. For me, I understand what you're talking about with attention span, and a lot of that comes with practice doing it. And the other thing is that if you notice that my chapters are very short. I try to.
There are short chapters, yeah.
I try to write like 500 words a day when I do my first rough draft, and usually it ends up clocking around 700. And if I can stay at it each and every day, in like 90 days or so, I have a complete first draft. And
Well,
I also don't write it at a dry spot, if you pardon that, because like I'm sticking to a word count. I'm not writing until I run out of ideas or run out of steam, because the next time you pick it up, you're out of ideas and you're out of steam, and it gets really like mentally choppy.
That's great. So your advice would be to start with a word count.
It works for me. My advice is actually to plot it out first, like a general plot. You don't want to get everything down, because then you get stuck and it gets stagnant. But you want a general plot, like in part 1, this is going to happen. Part 2, this is going to happen. Part 3, this is going to happen. Or however you want to arrange it. And then I like to use that word count, so that way I know when to stop. Like that's going to direct me to stop. Whatever that count is, that you can stay fresh. I believe that's how Hemingway wrote his longer works. That's called a Hemingway method. If you look up the Hemingway method, something similar will come up.
I think Absinthe was involved in that too. But
Tim, how long did it take you to write Grand Slams?
Through the process, it was 3 months for the first draft. So I started like in December 2015. No, actually December 2014. And so by like March or so, I had a first draft. And then the book came out in 2016. So it went through various reads, editing, revisions, which involved my publisher, involved people that I trusted. And I had a lot of really great people that I trust look at it. Like Minion was one of the people that worked on it. Cheryl Devitt worked on it. Renee worked on it. And, everyone's going to catch something different. It's really hard in the longer work for the writer to catch anything at a certain point.
Let me ask you, I had 2 questions off of that. So are those people you just mentioned, are they all editors, or have they all worked on your material before as editors?
Only one of them did. But
I think it's an interesting idea to me to trust somebody to have the correct eye to be your editor. How do you go about, finding those people or trusting them, to have the correct? I don't know. It seems like a personal process to hand something over to somebody that you've created and then say, fix this. Touch this up. Tell me where I'm missing things or what.
Yeah. How do you
go about finding a good editor?
Well, one, you can join like writing groups or like workshops, so you kind of know who's a good reader and who can pick through things. 2, I personally have a lot of friends that are writers and that are editors in the business, and I kind of know who likes my stuff, who understands my stuff, who's technically good, that can clean up some of my messes.
Right on. Yeah. Are those people, all those editors, the 3 you just mentioned, are they part of your literary series?
Let's see. At one time, are they part of Wilderness House Review or part of literary series?
I'm in Wilderness House, but I suppose either is.
Yeah, no, they are not. They are not. I mean, Tisha Toomey did a lot of the editing in Bill Sloan, my previous novel, so she's the poetry editor at Wilderness House. But Steve Glines, no. Doug, no. They, those aren't people that, and I'm sure they would probably do a great job, but they're not people that I wanted to work with, or I ended up working with.
Right on.
Yeah. So when you found your editor, and would you say the advice for someone who is working on a novel is to get involved in workshops or writing groups or something like that? Is there a certain kind of ambition that is, or a drive that is given when you start workshopping your stuff with other writers? Do you feel kind of energetic about your writing? Do you feel more vibrant when you decide to actually write? And when you put that 500 word line count down a day, it's much easier for you to do because you have somewhere to show it to, or you have.
Well, I can only speak from my experience. I learned a lot about writers groups and writers workshop through an online site called Scrawl, and they would do like flash and chat every Wednesday and Sunday, and I really learned from some really good people that, you know, many of them have published, like Rusty Barnes, and many of them have advanced very, you know, they advanced along quite well in their writing careers. And, you know, Cami Park, Nadine Darling, Sue Miller. There's some great people that I worked with. And before that, I really didn't workshop. I learned a lot. And then I joined a face-to-face writers group. And in terms of being energized, the best thing about the face-to-face writers group is you have to present. If it's your time to present, it kind of pushes you into it, whether you want to or not. And I mean, I'm not saying that that's the recommendation for writing. You should write whether you want to or not. But I think you need to learn. There's times that you're not going to want to write to push through that. Now, hopefully it's not every day. And there are times that you're all psyched to write and you get up and that's what you do. But like, you need to be able to write when you're feeling all of your emotions, when you're feeling like stuck, or you're feeling, you know, the cat just vomited on the rug, or like you're having a great day, or like you're, you know, been driving the kids around. You need to have that. For me, I needed to have that daily 500 words no matter what. And you know what? I also learned that if I was cranking along and I could get like maybe 1,500 words in like 2 days, I could take a day off. And that motivated me as well.
I when I got back from Paris, I started writing in a book that I got, and I was actually I just started writing poem 1, poem 2, poem 3, which is kind of, I usually title my poems before I begin them, and I just kind of wrote every day. I kind of stopped doing that, but the idea is to continue to keep fresh. I would write with my cup of coffee every day. Is that kind of sort of your routine? Do you write in the daytime? Do you write at night? Is it kind of, I don't know. It's not.
I write
routine.
I write at all times, but I write best when I'm in a routine. Like I write best in the morning. I mean, I usually, like, after I've woken up a bit, I've had a cup of coffee, and I can sit down and be like, you know, finish something. For me, writing is about finishing something. So if I finish my 500 words, I'm like, finished. You know, when I was writing short stories, 3,000 word short stories, I'd like to sit down and at least have a beginning, a middle, and an end. I could feel finished, because for some reason, if I don't finish something, whether it's a poem or a story or a section of a novel that I'm working on, I have this great fear, because it's happened before, that I wake up the next day and it's just like it just feels totally foreign. I'm totally out of the moment.
Wow.
I know that feeling entirely. And as a result, I also end up leaving many things like 80% finished. It's like
That's my thing.
biggest art flaw. Like my whole house is full of 80% done stuff.
And the only thing that those unfinished things are good for is like when you're stuck and it's like, well, let's revisit something, because I can't come up with crap today.
So is that why you kind of write a short? Well, let me ask. When you train yourself to write, and it sounds like this is a training. You when you train yourself 500 words a day, are you starting with a story? Are you starting with a short story? Do you ever write poetry, Tim? Is this just a fiction thing or a nonfiction thing, or what?
For poetry, I like to start a poem in one day and feel that it's almost 99% finished, you know, with some tweaks or some line changes, or change a break or remove a word or so. Like, that's just mentally what I do with poems. For novels, it's sort of, I mean, Bill Sloan was originally intended to be like a novel in flash fiction. So that way, that's where sort of the 500 to 700 words a day came in, because I was going to write this, like, you know, 100 flash pieces that all sort of interconnected, and that was going to be a novel. Well, lo and behold, it sort of became more of a standard novel, and it reads very experimental, which I kind of liked about that one. Grand Slams is such a traditional novel in a lot of ways, but it's very easy to write, because every character in that book is based on a real person.
I was going to say
people that I worked with, and a lot of the stories in that book are, you know, really, really happened. There was someone, Kayak Kenny, that, he would talk about buying that kayak and saving money, and I can't wait. The girls are going to love me.
And sugar.
The girls are going to really like me with the kayak. You come, and he would just, walk up to the waitresses like, "Would you like to ride in my kayak?" And, he hadn't bought it yet. He'd be talking about his kayak all the time.
So, that's great to. So the writing for Grand Slams was based on experience that you had. Do you ever write something out of total fantasy, total non-experiences that you have, something that you some visions that you have, dreams you've had, anything like that, or is it usually something that's concrete that's happened to you before?
Again, it's all different at different times, like especially with flash fiction, because flash fiction you can go so many different ways. You can do like a realistic story, you can do one that's totally a symbolism, you can do one that's magical or magical realist types of work.
Yeah.
And I really learned a lot when I was writing a lot of flash fiction about, again, headspace, where my head is at and where I want the story to go.
It's just so imaginative, Tim. Tim, I've written about maybe 2,000-3,000 poems, and I gotta say, I don't find it very difficult to write poetry, but I find it incredibly inspiring when someone can write fiction. I also think, and I was going to ask you a question. Have you ever had a dream that the next day you woke up and started writing about it?
Yeah, I did that. My early writings, that was happening a lot, and
Really?
some of the short stories in Short Street and 26 Pack, a lot of that was sort of I used to actually keep paper and pen next to my bed, so in case I didn't want to miss what my dreams were doing.
Yep. I've been experiencing dreams that are so vivid that I wake up, I'm like, that could be a screenplay, that could be something, and then by 12 o'clock I totally forget about it. And I think that's it's just a testament to a writer who can actually take down something and do something and actually do something with it. And I think that's incredible.
It's good to write what you know, and a lot of stuff that happens in my life, it's ends up on the page, but also a lot of stuff that I find interesting in other people's life might end up on the page. And if it's very, very sensitive material, I'll definitely get clearance.
Yep.
Go
ahead.
If it's obvious something happened to somebody and they know that it happened, or they told me about it, and I said, look, I might have included something similar here. Is that okay? And if they say it's not okay, well, then it's not okay.
Right. Yeah. You should have clearance before you, because whenever someone writes something, I had a writer actually show me his book and my name was in it. And he was a writer from Pennsylvania. I couldn't believe it. He's like, will you see my book? Will you maybe do a book review of it? And the third or fourth story was my name was in it. He's like, and that was kind of shocking to me because the character wasn't in the best light. And that really,
well, it's an easy review too. You can say the author's use of names is tremendous.
Yeah. But I wanted to ask you about your writing. Now, are you trained? Are you kind of classically trained? Is this your thing you've been doing for a very, very long time, or is this something that just kind of has been a hobby that you've created into a career?
It's funny that now it's been a long time, but at first, when I was in college and I was in high school, I hated to write. I really hated to be told what to do, and then it's funny because it's the anniversary. It's the anniversary of it. Today is March the 7th. A guy I played music with committed suicide on this day about 30 or so years ago, and
Oh, jeez.
I didn't know what to really do about. I didn't know what to do about that. So I didn't want to go to a therapist, and I was pretty much drinking myself pretty nasty. But every day I opened up a journal and I wrote whatever came into my head. I wasn't trying to write stories or a poem. I just was purging. It was a big free ride of F you, or this sucks, or whatever came into my head. And it kind of became this journal. After about 6 months of like writing every day or so, I was like, okay, I'm feeling better about this. I really don't need to do this. I don't need to like purge on this, in this black and white book anymore. And then a week after that, I realized that I kind of missed writing in general, and I wrote my first short story.
Did you have that short story published?
Trying to remember. Yeah, it's in my very, very first. It's in the damn middle, and it's it's called The Wake, and it's a kind of about that experience. And
can you find that book somewhere?
Probably not. I don't know. It was never in print. It was like one of the early ebooks. This is before Kindle and before like the Nook, and it was like they had this thing called the e-reader, which actually I have, and like a lot of it was like it was the future of publishing. The e-reader, and it was amazing. And like my first publisher was like an e-publisher, and this is when they were first starting out. It was like 1995 or 96. And it's in the first book, The Damn Middle, is like a 75-page ebook of like 8 short stories.
Man, you're kind of a rock star when it comes to writing around the Boston area. You've been around, man. And let me ask you: have you ever gone into publishing or edited any other person's book, or or you just?
Yeah, I've done that.
Path. Oh, you have?
I've done that, and I published Maria McCarthy and we published the Heat City Literary Review, which is in print, online and in print, and we got 2 issues out of it. And we realized how difficult it is to like have a nationally published literary magazine, and how expensive it is. Like besides the cost and the printing cost and the unpaid labor costs of you as an editor, what people don't realize is that you get your big break and every Barnes and Noble wants 3 or 4 copies of your journal across the country, and you think you're doing great, like wow, I have all this stuff, and then like after 6 months or when the next issue comes out, they turn around and they say, well, either we can't afford, it's too costly to send back all the copies, so they they destroy them. So like that's one cost you really don't anticipate, like the cost of all the unsold books.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. And you don't get them. You don't get the inventory back at all, so it's just gone, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the other thing I know that from someone else. I heard that the other option is they can send you back the books, but the covers are ripped off.
Yep. That's
because it changes the shipping or something like that.
No, that's what they did. I used to work at Barnes & Noble, and that's what they did to the books. They ripped off the page. Why? I don't know. It's just something about, it's kind of like retiring a book. It's kind of actually cruel if you think about it. You rip the cover off.
And then you're maiming the book.
You're maiming the book, and then you get the book back if you want. It's totally. I mean, I guess the book publishing business, like the real book publishing business, is pretty cutthroat, and it's kind of funny because as an independent publisher,
you can't either.
Yeah, I guess that's the case, right? Yeah, that's totally what it is.
Oddball Magazine has existed solely online now for a few years, and we're just kind of I'm very proud of our publication. We publish every single day, but I don't see us as a national publication. I mean, we're online, but we've never published. I've published zines in the past, but to foray into the national, becoming a national publisher and then.
Well, the thing about online journals is that they're, whether you like it or not, they're international. That anyone can click on and read, and the advantage of that is it seems to be the longer that you're there and doing it, the better the magazine gets and the stronger the reputation gets. And when I first, people don't have to make this decision anymore, but like the original decision, like, oh, I'm going to publish online, it's not real publishing and blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
And what ends up happening is like, you think, well, if I publish online, more people will see it and it will never go away. But one of the cruelest things that has happened is like your stories like disappear forever. Like a site goes down, or they don't want to pay for the storage or the bandwidth if they kind of lost interest. And they go down all the time because very often, like online journals are like 2 or 3 people or even one person, and then like something happens, like someone like has a baby, or they're like a motorcycle accident, or like they just get sick of it or whatever, and suddenly there's like it just disappears, like poof, it's gone.
Yeah, I mean, somebody has to pay for the site. So then, when they just stop doing that, and it's not like they update that if they're, not closing down formally. So all of a sudden, wherever it used to be published, it's not even there anymore.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Either
sometimes.
That, or like, why should I take over Oddball when I can come up with my own Tim Gager journal?
Exactly.
It's the same thing. It's the same amount of work.
Yeah.
My vision.
Yeah.
Damn it, I want my vision.
Well, it's funny, being a literary publisher myself, and coming up constantly with, columns and stuff. I don't know. I mean, I can see who sees the magazine and stuff, but I don't see nearly as much work as we put into it. I mean, I think a lot of people like our magazine, I mean, I think we constantly put out stuff all the time, but it's not like but I don't see anyone coming up to me like, oh, hey, I read your magazine the other day. But although 170,000 people have read it, apparently, according to my
I mean, it's kind of strange too. Sometimes you get a lot of likes. Likes, there's wonderful likes that you get, but no one actually reads it. They just like that you publish.
Yeah, yeah. But
which is a weird sort of affirmation if you think about it. Like, hey, I'm really proud of you for doing something.
Yeah,
I don't really care what it is.
I like you, but I'm not going to marry you.
You look interesting to me, but I'm not really going to, check it out.
Yeah, I think.
Tisha was telling me this study that she read that like how this generation, like when you receive a like, it releases endorphins.
Yep.
So it's like you get addicted to your likes.
Yeah, every time you see like and that's the thing about instant notifications on your phone or on your computer anywhere, is that when you see the little red bubble or whatever to tell you that somebody liked it, like that, it instantly releases that, and you get an anticipation kind of endorphin too from like, all right, what is this going to be? Until you open it, it's like, this is a comment I didn't care about. Somebody commented on it, and it's a very interesting idea because I can feel it happen to myself. It's the only reason I'm still on Facebook is I use it a lot, but I don't like it very much. I love Twitter. It's not that I don't like social media, but Facebook to me becomes less and less useful. But it's almost an addiction. It's almost an interaction addiction that I think is really weird to watch develop.
Yeah, I'm so bad at doing that anymore. Trying to use the social media aspect to feel like you matter is becoming increasingly more difficult for me. So I just kind of back out a little bit.
Well, I see this interesting phenomenon that goes on is the people that, I mean, first of all, everyone's promoting, a lot of authors are promoting, but if you become like very well known or more well known, you don't necessarily have to promote. And usually that kind of leaves all the people that are kind of yelling politically at each other. And so what happens is the people that are like aren't going insane by that yelling, they stick around. And like other people will be like, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of reading this. I'm sick of reading politics. I'm coming here to relax, and they'll drop out. So you're kind of left with all the yellers.
Especially right now, and I'm one of the yellers right now. Like I'm with you. But especially right now, it's so full of it that people can't stop talking about it. I can't stop talking about it.
Exactly.
And but is that going to produce the change that you want on either side? Now it's like, wow, like I posted something that's going to really change the world. Or even stuff like marches and candlelight vigils, like it's nice that you feel good. It's like you get these likes for being at a march, but like marches and candlelight vigils tend not to do shit.
Well, I mean, there's certainly a limit to it, like it's shining a light on an issue, but that's not nearly all of the steps.
We all know what the issue is.
That's the first step,
We all know what the issue is.
Yeah.
Like it's never been like, hold on, we overthrew the government because we had like marches every single day. No, that's not how it happens. You want to do something, what you got to do is you call your Senate, you call your congressperson, whatever side you want, and be like, I'm not voting for your ass unless you support the people.
Exactly.
Or what the perception of the people are. And I mean, that's how you get things done. And the other way you get things done is by violent revolution, and that happens. Sorry to say, like, oh, it's a bad thing people get, but if you really want a revolution, I mean, that's your way to make change, and that's historically
what the French
that's how change occurs, whether you like it or not.
It was interesting to be in Paris and then to think of the rich culture there and think of how the Louvre was once a king's, basically where the king lived until they cut off his head and then they just opened it up to be an amazing art museum. So it's amazing how things like revolution happen and
Well, he had a head for art.
exactly. But that was one thing I learned from going to Paris was the divide of rich and poor is definitely there. But it was it's a beautiful city, but
Did
there's
people
definitely
in France? Were people in France asking like, what the fuck's going on in your country?
actually
Did people look at you like you were some kind of clown?
You know what? I spoke French there the whole time. So when I spoke English, they were actually very, very nice people. But I was walking down the street and I saw this picture of Donald Trump dressed up as Uncle Sam, and it said "loser" in French. And then there was something. Then it said something like Uncle Donald. Yeah, and then it said. In Italian on a piece of paper next to it, poetry is not terrorism, and I thought that was really fucking cool. But the thing is, over in Paris, what I saw was a lot of street art. I saw a lot of resistance, and they're actually dealing with a presidency right now. They're dealing with an election right now, and it was interesting to see how they actually feel about what's going on with their country. So it's just it was interesting to be walking around Montmartre and seeing something like Generation Ungovernable in French, and that was really freaking cool. It was like a bird cage and like just this really interesting street art, and it's just totally just like what's going on in here, just on a slightly different scale. It's just there's always going to be revolution. It's either
And right now, that nationalist movement is international. The same thing that caused Brexit is some of the same issues that led to our having Trump,
Exactly.
Well, if you think about when this country formed, it was one of the catchphrases are you willing to die for your country? And it's not just a catchphrase. It's not like a campaign slogan. People really were willing to die for what created our country, what created our Constitution, and to break free. Like, I think that a lot of people think that they're willing to die for our country, but they're more likely willing to die for somebody else rather than making the country as great as it could possibly be.
I think there's a lot of people fighting for what they believe to be principles rather than actual ideals, rather than actually really fighting for their country. They're fighting for their side to win, whichever side.
Or they're fighting for themselves. Like, look at me, I'm making a lot of noise about my opinions. Like, aren't I wonderful that I disagree? You know what? Like, I feel I'm on the right side too. But I'm not going to judge people on the wrong side. But quite often I do. Quite often I do, because I can't quite understand what's going on in the country. It's not because I'm stupid. It's because I've never seen anything at all like this at all.
Yeah, this is certainly unique in our lifetime. I keep likening it. It must be similar to the the end of the '60s and right before the Civil Rights Movement, or during the Civil Rights Movement, but more the political movement that surrounded it. It's got to be something similar, and the movement against Nixon, who was far more presidential than Trump will ever be, which is interesting to say.
Yeah. We're moving towards an idiocracy every day, and it's really kind of interesting. Where are the revolutionaries right now? Where are the people who are going to take back our country? And are we the people who are just talking about it on Facebook, or are there people actually doing something? And it seems like everything that every kind of movement starts, and then it becomes advertised, and then it becomes promoted, and then it becomes kind of, I don't know, commercialized, and then it becomes lost. It becomes a catchphrase, and then the movement is kind of lost in a way.
Well, Michael Morris says that, like, the time it takes for you to call your political leaders in the Senate and in Congress is like only a fraction of the amount of time that people spend writing about it on Facebook.
It's absolutely true. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to make change, call your congressman. I mean, if they're there for the people, then that's the only logical change.
And call.
get
Don't
informed
email.
too.
Call. Don't email. Call. They cannot ignore a phone call. It's really, really easy to ignore an email.
And call and have a little script and be informed.
Yes.
Like if you want to talk about healthcare, know exactly what like the new healthcare plan is and what it means before you make that call. Why you prefer the old one possibly, why you don't want any of them, why you want to make pharmaceuticals not for profit. Whatever you want to do, just be informed and call about it.
Yeah,
I think that's the takeaway here is if you are going to call your congressman, if you're going to call your senators and your representatives, maybe be intelligent about it. No?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was talking to a doctor the other day, the whole EpiPen controversy where the manufacturers, the EpiPens were like $900 when, the drug in an EpiPen is like the cheapest drug you can possibly manufacture.
It's almost
That's what
criminal.
the doctor said, and the device that shoots the EpiPen into your system is just like a little spring-loaded piece of plastic. And in fact, we all thought it was great when the price went down to $300. Well, something like that. It's just, I heard. According to him, he says it's such a low cost. But who's going to step in and say why are you charging $300? Why is my insurance company paying for that, or why is my insurance company not paying that $300? What's a better solution for that?
I mean, and one of the other things about that is it does the exact same drug in a different country does not cost a fraction of what it costs here, which is ridiculous. Doesn't make any sense, and that's what Sanders and other Democrats are trying to push to get allow us to ship to order drugs from Canada, and that got shut down. But I think that's only one piece of what we're supposed to do with this whole thing. That it doesn't make any sense that in our country, one of the the leading nations in healthcare, our drugs are ridiculous. Our drug costs are ridiculous to ordinary citizens.
Well, when manufacturers and profiteers start to run the government, I mean, we all cry fascism about Donald Trump, but the fascism is the capitalists that are controlling the government, controlling the votes, and controlling what they want.
Exactly.
They're the man. Power of the revolution.
Did you just snap your fingers? What was that?
No, actually, oddly enough, I have a corkscrew sitting on my desk because I'm a bartender, and I just happened to be playing with it in my hand. I didn't know you could hear that.
I thought that wasn't that the sound of the guy in Cleveland Cavaliers breaking his leg?
That was a femur snapping, is what that was.
That was a tibia going bad.
Hey, so listen, we're cruising right through the oddball hour as we do when we're having a good time. So let's take a quick break here and do and update the people on what's going on at Oddball Magazine and JP Lime, because we like to keep them informed.
Yeah, I think call your congressman.
And tell them about Oddball Magazine. Just make sure you know what you want to tell them. Do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
I usually tend to go long, but I feel like you have a lot to say, so I guess I'll just go short.
Yeah, and with the highlights.
Hit with the highlights. All right, so we haven't. Oddball Magazine, we have constant content. Every day we update, do something. Today was our good friend Flemings Bobrin with the Epic Autism Report. His report was about the coming of the PAX Penny Arcade Expo, the big Penny Arcade Expo, or as they call PAX, and he was talking about how people there, you gotta be ready because the nerds are coming, and he is a nerd himself. He's self-proclaimed on the website, and he's saying, be ready. PAX is coming to town, and that's what the year was about today. My poem today was inspired by listening to Philip Glass. The poem is called "Vagabond and Kingdom Come." I don't think I even know if I used the words correctly, but I feel like that's what I was going for. It's Jagged Thought 165. I'll read it.
I don't know if I used the words correctly.
I think so. I think I got my point across, but as I'm not a writer, so Jagged Thought 165, Vagabond and Kingdom Come. We had fiction by Elizabeth Hoyle, and I read the whole piece, and it was about a woman who bites off her husband's toes. Seriously, that's what the short story was about. It's a really interesting read. It was kind of
Nice.
just weird to read, and I was like, wow. And that was, and
Wow.
sometimes I'm just shocked by what comes up on the website, and I got to thank that to Chad Parenta, who sometimes just makes executive decisions and throws some great stuff up there. And this was some artwork by a new artist. By his name is Bill Wallach. And the thing is, being an online magazine, sometimes we don't know who our contributors are. But Bill Wallach has been contributing these really cool pieces to us for the last couple months. And he delivers 2 pieces with this fiction, and then we have Just Enough for Monday. He did Off the Cuff. Just shout out to Just Enough. He did his comedy troupe Off the Cuff, Slippery When Wet. That was pretty off the cuff. And then we had The Odds by Bill Harvey, and this was just on Monday and Tuesday. So that was our comic strip by Bill Harvey, who's a Detroit comic strip cartoonist, and his one-frame comics are pretty funny. And then Friday we had our awesome brand new column that we love. I don't know if you ever heard of this author, Tim, but his name is Bruce Wise. He's a writer who he writes in different names, and he writes these little short, amazing poems about what's going on in politics. And he writes 3 or 4 poems at a given stretch every Friday, and it's awesome. He was a great contributor. And he was someone who was contributing for so long to the magazine, and we had to kind of he was constant with his submissions, and I was like, I got to get this guy just to give me a weekly column. So now he is. And then we had I think you'd love it, Tim. I think you'd love this guy. His name is Bruce Wise. Parts unknown. I don't even know where some of my columnists come from, but this guy is great. In his column is Wise Words with Bruce Wise. And then, of course, we had a twist of J.P. Lime with Essential Part 4, which is it's a new writer to J.P. Lime. What's his?
That's Dave Yearling. I'll talk about that in just a second. Yeah, because he's a good friend of ours, and he's a short story writer. And actually, I'll just talk about it in a second.
Yeah. Okay, great. And before that, we had Bamboozled No More with Janet Cormier. Who I guess she's having an art show in Somerville this month, so if you can catch that. She's also she does a Somerville art show on cable access, and we have our good, awesome poet and friend Liza Zayas with The Underground Garden, and also James Van Loy with It's All One Thing. And that was what's going on in the last 3 or 4 days with Oddball Magazine. So we have a lot of.
You guys have a great bunch of contributors. I've seen some of these columns that have developed over the last couple years that we've been working together, and you've got some great consistent contribers with some really diverse content. I really you get some great poets working.
We come up with these. I mean, Fleming's ear column is so refreshing because you don't know what he's going to talk about, and that's great. And I love his perspective on things. And then you have Liza, who has this amazing poetry style. Plus, you have her. She also has her ear to the sound of like nightlife in Boston. So she Arado and like all the electric dance music that's coming around Boston. She knows about it. So she writes about it, and then we have, and Chad puts it all together, and it's just we have a great team, and I love our magazine. That's what's going
poetry on the East Coast. Come check them out at oddballmagazine.com.
On the planet, brother.
On the planet.
I love it.
Over at jplineproductions.com, we've had some cool new stuff going on. Coming into the new year, we had our new design go up. So with that, we wanted to make sure that we filled in with some interesting new content, and some of our inner circle people have come through on that. Spaceman has his new 1,000 words column that's gone up. He's done 2 volumes of that. He has gotten really into photography and doing some different kind of art. He's been doing a lot of painting and whatnot. So with that attached to
painting about the I'm sorry to interrupt. Painting about the going to a gun range, and that painting that he did. Oh my god, that's awesome!
So what he's doing now is pairing up, different paintings and different works that he's doing, and then writing a 1,000-word thing, a picture worth 1,000 words, either related to it or about what inspired him, not directly explaining the work, but just something that's, a story that's related for him. And it's pretty interesting. Spaceman has a certain kind of style to him. And he's a big part of what we do at JP Lime. And I think his new column's really coming along. I like it a lot. So check out 1,000 Words. And somebody else that's big on our inner circle, LSP, DJ LSP 1200, one of Boston's hottest hip hop producers, who you have already heard tonight. He does our opening music here at the podcast. So big shout out to him for that. In addition, he's got 2 new columns that he's kind of been running at JP Lime simultaneously. The LSP Throwback Thursday, he goes back through his volumes of beats and puts up one for our freestyling and listening pleasure every Thursday. So that's the LSP Throwback Thursday. And then the LSP syllabus, LSP is really into hip hop memoirs. He's read, I think he said like 30, 40 of them. And so he's been doing a little syllabus list we call the LSP syllabus. And giving a little insight into some of those works that he's been reading from big hip hop icons, which is a pretty cool perspective. When we hang out and do the rap flashback, which we do every month, we'll be filming the March edition this weekend. LSP lends a great deal of knowledge and music depth to our conversations and our hanging out. So I'm glad he's found a couple outlets here at the magazine to work on some stuff. And the other person you just mentioned, Dave Yearling, is a good friend of ours. He is my collaborator on a music project that's coming up soon, and a good friend of my wife's and mine. And he's a short story writer, and his story Essential is kind of dystopian, interesting short story about what would happen if language broke down as part of a society gone wrong kind of thing. How would that affect the power structure? We did that in 4 volumes, and the full volume is up there now. That went up last week, so definitely check that out. And that's what we did for Twist the Lime over at Oddball, so that's at both places simultaneously. In addition, I mentioned, like I said, the rap flashback's getting filmed this weekend, so the March one will be coming your way next week, the week after. And I'll be working on a little column called Welcome to the Swamp, which will be either going up this week or next week. So and I almost forgot. Tomorrow or Thursday, we're doing JPL Memory, a new game that I've come up with. Test your knowledge on all the different things we do here at JPL.
Awesome.
JPL Magazine and JPL Productions. So definitely come play our new game. So that's what's going on at JPL Productions. We are your role with the Crunchy Hip Hop Center. You can find us at jplimeproductions.com and on the interwebs at JPLime on Instagram and Twitter. So come find us.
Dude, we have so much content between the both of us. We should start a podcast or something.
We just got content coming out our ears. In our rears.
In our ears and our rears.
But please do come check us out. This podcast is playing right now at Oddball Magazine and at jplimeproductions.com. It's also playing through our Facebook and Twitter and our various social media feeds. So however you happen to come find us, come check out more. There's a lot more to know about both JPLime and Oddball. And all the artists that work with them. One of the biggest things we're trying to do is make connections and build a network of artists. We've had some awesome guests here on the podcast, and most of them come from our pre-existing art networks like Out of the Blue and some of the other great open mics and other art collectives that are going on in Boston. So it's a really important thing to keep going and to support. So our thanks to the artists that make all that possible.
Absolutely. We couldn't do it without all the support that we have from the Boston art community and poetry and writers that we know and everything, and all the columnists, Spaceman and all the guys. I don't know. You guys have a great site. We have a great site. We're killing it.
Yours is okay.
Yeah, mine's all right.
We are coming down to the end of the Oddball hour here as we cruise through like we do. A couple different ways we could end tonight. We haven't done a list of 10 in a long time.
That'd be a good way. I'd love to do a list of 10 with Tim. I'd love to read my poem too. So can we do both?
I'm down.
And okay,
All
so
right.
we do a list of 10 with Tim. Tim,
no Celtics talk, huh?
No, we just blew right through it, man. We got talking about writing, and
then we talked about Revolution. What's more important than Revolution?
we're gonna have to have you back, Tim. We'll talk more about the Celtics maybe once they get into the playoffs.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
Because they, you know, what I did see is on ESPN they got a 99.9% chance to make the playoffs. So we'll definitely have to have another cast about the Celtics.
Yeah, and I'm an avid Celtics fan, and it's right now they've lost 2 games in a row. They lost to the Phoenix Suns, who have a 20-40 record. So let's not talk about them right now.
Yikes!
Maybe we're jinxing them.
Celtics are a fun team, though. They're fun to watch.
They're fun to watch, and it's great to watch them develop too. I know we shouldn't talk about it. Oh, Jordan Mickey.
More Jordan Mickey.
More Jordan Mickey. You know, I agree. Jordan Mickey, definitely more Jordan Mickey, less Kelly Olynyk.
Demetrius Jackson.
Demetrius Jackson. He's playing all year.
So I want a 40-point blowout, and we could have Jackson, Mickey,
Olynyk,
Rozier, Young, and what the hell? Kelly Olynyk will have to just bite the bullet.
I say we trade Kelly Olynyk for a box of crayons and a coloring book at this point. I don't know.
Who's gonna greet the Durants in the world if Olynyk's not there at the buffet table?
Who's gonna greet?
Hi, I'm Kelly Olynyk. I want you to come play for the Celtics. No, man. I think Golden State's looking awfully good now.
Golden State's looking pretty good. Oh man.
Why do you guys think? Just real quick, why do you think they didn't do anything in the trade deadline?
I think it's kind of it's an addition by doing nothing. They have the picks. They can draft and trade who they draft. They can still trade the picks. And you know what? They don't want to. I mean, my feeling is too that they need a rebounder. But Ainge said, and I agree with him. You add a rebounder to this team, and suddenly you're going to win or lose based on the speed. Small team with the Celtics have. You add a rebounder, it's not going to improve the team. So you're adding all of these guys by trading draft picks. That's kind of a waste, I think. I think it's okay. I think they're going to go. They're not going to win a championship. They're going to go as far as they're going to go, which is, might be pretty far.
Yeah, I'm thinking second round. I'm thinking. I see this team struggle against teams like the Phoenix Suns and the LA Clippers, the Clippers are so stacked as a team that if they could get their shit together, they could be one of the best teams in the league. And we are such a great team with so much fight, but sometimes we just, we're paying Al Horford $100 million to put up 14 points a game. He's a great role player, but he doesn't have. He's not a shoot. He's not tenacious that we need. I'm not gonna say DeMarcus Cousins. I don't think we should have got DeMarcus Cousins. I'm saying we need someone like I don't know. I'm just saying we need shooters when Isaiah Thomas doesn't turn it on in the fourth quarter. We need to have someone who does turn it on in the fourth quarter. We need someone who's consistent. And people I just feel like as Kelly Olynyk is becoming the poster child for every single person to be every poster is going to have him being dunked on or committing a foul to make a 3-point play. There was one play where Kelly Olynyk, in the beginning of the season, and I'm going to say he had a couple good games recently, but he's been sucking those of late. But I know we're not supposed to talk about the Celtics. We're going to move on. But
no, they're not supposed to. It's
Kelly Olynyk, okay, there was a tight game. I don't remember who it was. It was the beginning of the season. Kelly Olynyk. It was like the game was it was down to it was tied, and he fouled someone shooting a 3-pointer with 3 seconds left, and all I had to do, and they just basically shot foul shots to win the game, and that kind of stupid shit that Kelly Olynyk does all the time. He does stupid shit all the time as a basketball player that I wanna like Kelly Olynyk, but I keep on coming back to, God, trade this guy. I just trade him. I think.
Well, there's also the mentality too. People LeBron will never get fouls called against him because he's LeBron, and LeBron will always get the breaks. People like Olynyk, and I remember my favorite Celtic of all time, AC Earl. They're just, and even that the guy they got rid of from Ohio State. What's his name? It slips my mind, but he's now plays for Toronto.
Oh,
but they're just in the vicinity, and they get called for fouls just because of who they are.
well, Kelly Olynyk is literally he has a beaker on him that says "Get dunked on." I feel like he makes all these stupid plays in the paint all the time, and it's just I don't know. It's frustrating to watch. I mean, the Celtics were up by 14 points yesterday against the LA Clippers. All of a sudden, Jamal Crawford turns it on in the third quarter with like a minute left in the game in the third quarter, and he just turns it on everybody. And then all of a sudden, the fourth quarter comes around, and the Celtics are down by 14 points, and then they're struggling to get into a game where they have 9 points left with 45 seconds left in the game, and people are like, maybe they'll come back, and it's like it's not going to happen. Tommy Heinsohn said you have to kill them in the third quarter, and we're not doing that. We're just not doing it. And there's people like Kelly Olynyk and other people on the team that are just fucking it up for the rest of them. And I love the team. It's just there's just certain players on the team that I think need to pack it up, and that's what I think.
And that's your jagged thought for the day.
Yes.
Pack it up, bitch.
Little guy.
Olynyk, pack it up. Little
Big
guy, pack it up.
The big guy. Big guy with the long hair.
The other whipping boy that I forgot his name is Jared Sullinger.
That's what I thought you were talking about. Isn't Sullinger
Jared
a free agent?
Sullinger, yeah. They were talking about
Now,
getting him
he's
again.
at free buffet. He's not a free agent. He's at the free buffet.
I will tell you who I do love on the team. I love Marcus Smart. I love Marcus Smart. I love watching him play. He is tenacious. He's a tough guy. He's
more Jaylen Brown too.
And I love Jaylen Brown. He's been playing great. He's
great player.
Great, and he's a rookie, and I think he's going to be great for the team. And I love Avery Bradley. I love this team so much. I love IT, of course, but I just love this team. It's just shitty when they beat Cleveland in an amazing game, and then they lose to the Phoenix Suns, and then the Clippers. It's just I don't know. But they got 7 games left in the season, 10 games left in the season.
They're going to destroy Golden State,
and they're going to play Golden State tomorrow. So they're playing Golden State, and I feel like Golden State is they're just so good. They're just so good, and you don't get to see them on the East Coast, so it's very exciting when you get to watch them, even though they're going to play Boston tomorrow. They're an exciting team to watch. I mean, Steph Curry is already a legend, and what is he, like a 3rd, 4-year player? I mean, he's amazing.
Yeah, he's a great one. What a pure shooter. He can score from any part of the court.
Yeah. And Draymond Green and all these other guys. I mean, this team is stacked, but watching the Clippers yesterday, I'm like, this team has all these all-stars, and they can't get themselves out of their way. You can tell that they don't like each other. You can tell that.
Too bad Durant's injured. Otherwise, it'd be like he could run into Kelly Olynyk again.
Yeah, break a tibia.
Sorry you didn't come play for the Celtics.
Yeah.
My name's Kelly Olynyk.
I mean,
let me meet you at the airport.
You think he saw Kelly Olynyk? He's like, I'm gonna go. I'm going. I don't like Kelly. Maybe he didn't get along. I don't know. Kevin Durant. He would have made a lot of difference if he came to Boston. But I think he just wanted to chase the championship ring, and that's what he's doing on Golden State.
Ainge and Stevens were like, look, guys, we need to show something to Durant. I need a volunteer to show him around, maybe meet him at the airport. Oh, Kelly? Oh, fuck.
Can we get Boston coach?
Oh, hold on. Your hand's up there. Kelly, I don't see your hand. Oh, wait. Oh.
Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know. They're an exciting team to watch, and I guess we all kind of believe that Kelly is the one that's just fucking it up for the rest of them. That's my opinion.
Well, I'm looking forward to the Golden State game.
I can't wait. I watch every single game. Yeah,
right, that's our Celtics talk.
Yeah, that was our Celtics talk. Sorry, we were not supposed to have that, but
just couldn't be contained.
Sorry.
What else did we talk about? We didn't talk about B restaurants.
That's true.
Wait. Should we just talk about themed restaurants real quick?
No.
B restaurant.
No.
Hey, the guy that originated Waffle House passed away today. He was 97.
Wow, he lived a great life.
He did. You think the chicken and waffles would have killed him?
Yeah. Did he die of diabetes?
He died of second-hand smoke from the Section 1 of the Waffle House.
Is that true?
It's sad because it's true.
Yeah. Sacrilegious.
All right, well, we are coming down to the end of the Oddball Hour here, and as the threads come apart, let's close up with a couple of our favorite segments. One being Jason's column every week at Oddball Magazine. It's called Jagged Thoughts, so he'll read that to close the show out. But before we get there, let's do a list of 10.
Do you think we should do a list of 10 or a list of 5.5?
I'm really gonna have to push for the whole 10. I don't even know what a half would be, but
all right.
Yeah.
All right, list of 10. Here we go.
All right. So this is our list of 10. It's based on James Lipton's questionnaire on Inside the Act Studio. He based his on Bernard Pivot's show L'Apostrophe, which is based on the Proust questionnaire. So I really like the idea of keeping it going. So this is our list of 10.
List of 10.
Tim, even though you have no idea what's coming, are you ready?
No idea. I'm
Awesome.
ready. I'm ready for that.
Good. Number 1. What time and place would you like to be, if not here and now?
If not here and now, I would like to have, as Stephen Wright said, eggs during the Renaissance.
I'll take it. From another great Wright. Number 2. What is the greatest advice you've ever received?
Don't try.
Ooh. Don't try. Number 3. What would your superpower be?
Hold on. Is that like be the ball, Tim?
Do or do not. There is no try.
Be the ball.
Oh, I was talking about a funny superpower, but now it's, my favorite. What would my superpower be?
Yep.
Nothing original. I'd like to fly.
Fly. That's my top answer too.
I would love to fly.
Not fast enough to turn the Earth in opposite rotation, but just fast enough to get around.
Not Superman 2 speed. Just
get out of
regular
traffic.
Superman speed.
Yeah.
You don't have to save Lois Lane from dying in an avalanche or whatever that was. I forget.
And that wouldn't have fucked up the Earth. Nah,
it's fine. Wouldn't have caused volcanic eruptions.
It's global warming. No, Superman's just screwing with the axis again.
He really didn't think that through, did he?
No, certainly didn't.
Whoever directed that didn't think that through.
I think it's Superman's fault. Number 4. Biggie or Tupac?
Tupac.
Excellent.
Keep your head up, Tim.
Number 5.
May God judge you.
Who was your favorite person?
Tisha Tuman.
Oh, that was nice.
I hope you're listening, Tisha.
Hope you're listening, Tisha. That was a great answer, Tim.
Number 6. What is your quest?
To seek the Holy Grail.
I'm so disappointed no one has said that yet. Thank you,
So
Tim.
many people's quests. So many people's quests.
Number 7. Fill in the blank. All you need is blank.
Love. Easy. I agree. Kindness and compassion.
Love, kindness, and compassion.
Number
Nice.
8. Rock, paper, or scissors?
Rock.
As a writer, I think
Rock
you'd say
always
paper.
wins.
Paper.
I am a
Born to rock.
Yeah. Usually.
Do you want to rock?
I want to rock.
I want a paper.
Yeah, see, it just doesn't work.
It
I guess
doesn't
it was the right answer. Number 9. What do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be a kid.
A kid.
Brilliant.
And number 10. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear St. Peter say when you reach the pearly gates?
I've been waiting for you for a long time.
And that is the list of 10.
The
Tim,
list.
thank you very much.
The list of
All right.
10.
You survived.
Tim, I gotta say you're a fucking rock star, man. I just want to say that. Tim's a rock star.
It's a fun show.
Thanks very much for being here, Tim. We really do appreciate it. All of the stuff we talked about tonight is going to be in the pertinent link section at Oddball Magazine and at jplineproductions.com. So definitely check that out. Get Grand Slams on Amazon. That link will be right up there. And follow Tim at Timothy Gager on Twitter, and find him on Facebook. And all of that will also be in our pertinent links. So just in case you need to know where to find some really great information, come check us out.
And check out Tim's book. It's a really great book. And Tim, thanks for being on the show. Tim, it was great. And the little nuggets of wisdom that you passed on to us lowly podcasters will not be forgotten.
Thank you very much, and it's great. A lot of fun being on the show.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, Prof.
And thanks to Mark Maron too. I didn't know he was on this podcast.
WTF, Tim. Hey, Prof, should we send it out with the jagged thought?
No, yeah. You say sit it out or send it out?
Sit on it. Hey.
No, you can give us your jagged thought for the week.
All right, here we go.
Before we do though, this has been a collaboration of Oddball Magazine and JP Lime Productions. Please come check us out at JP Lime on Twitter and Instagram, and at JP Lime Productions on YouTube and Facebook. You can also find this podcast on YouTube, on SoundCloud, and then from SoundCloud on iTunes and Stitcher. So we are pretty much everywhere you want to be on the internet.
But employed.
It's true. Quite true.
Tim, it was a real pleasure. Tim Gager, thanks for being on the show. Hopefully we'll have you on again when the Celtics drop off Kelly Olynyk at the airport and pick up Kevin Durant.
We'll do it.
This is Jagged Thought 165, Vagabond in Kingdom Come. Where are we today? Where are we in this dream? Are we in the rapid eye movements of God? Are God's feet restless with angels? What is this pendulum swinging beneath my feet? In the city where the lovers see, the sea blind to waves of poverty, the sidewalks littered with flowers, in a state frozen in infamy. The beauty is trapped in cold seats, computer keys, trapped in memories, remembering frozen city sidewalks and something cold wanting to be free. A memory in a microwave, warm me up something else, refresh me like my morning coffee. The city of lights was never blind to me. In a world set apart from one pathetic sea, a cloudy mystery, gloomy ministry, God seems to wander, breathless in the city of wandering artists. In a city of perfect nothingness, free me. Free me from the endless deserts. Show me the oceans of industry. Show me the hollow cave. Give me light. Illuminate me. Let me wander, always wandering. Vagabond in Kingdom Come. One day finding somewhere to rest my feet. Thank you, Prof. And that was Jagged Thought 165. Vagabond and Kingdom Come, and this has been the Oddball Show, and I'd like to thank Tim Gager. Prof, he was a fun guest, wasn't he?
I liked him a lot.
Yeah, he was great. I mean, I got to say, this was a top-notch podcast, and
go read his book, bitches.
Go read his book, and a lot of valuable wisdom. If you rewind past half of that Celtics talk, there was a lot of smart stuff he was talking about. So, me just ranting about Kelly Olynyk is not going to change anything. So
our viewers should make sure to rewind the podcast before they start playing it.
Yeah, rewind the podcast. If you got to this point of the podcast, rewind it and start over. Start over the podcast.
Turn this podcast to side 2.
Yeah, exactly. At the beep. I was waiting for the beep. All right, guys, this has been the Oddball Show podcast with me and Prof and Tim Gager. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you real soon, all right? Be good to each other. Bye.
This is the Oddball Show, a podcasting collaboration from JP Productions and Oddball Magazine.